Here's a list of things recreational and professional divers will never say. Hey Bob, yesterday I dived to 932 meters depth and guess what? My watch was fine since it's rated to 1 kilometer underwater. I know Neil, me too. And how good that there's a helium escape valve since my crystal would have blown out and my dive would have been done for otherwise. Oh, tell me about it, Dave. I go in and out of compression chambers all the time and I absolutely rely on mechanical wristwatches and not a professional team of dive support nor a backup computer on my wrist. Alright, I had to get that out of my system since the reality is that nobody needs ridiculously over-engineered watches, nor would they ever push them anywhere near their limits. But hey, we do all like and appreciate the science and engineering behind such devices. And that's really half the fun in wearing, researching and talking about these little things, right? When the marketing team at Singapore-based Lume Watches reached out to me to ask if I'd be interested in checking out the German brand Dievas, with a spelling that looks like Divas, my first reaction was, never heard of it, and also German Schmerman. But looking into it a bit further and getting past my initial ignorance, I said yes please to a loan of the interesting looking Sealab Mark III in the green and gold. The company has been around since 2006 and released some interesting and unique models in their time. And in typical and I suppose slightly cliched fashion, the German approach to quality control is stringent, and there's plenty of information on their website about collaboration with military operatives in the field. In the best news though, considering the specs, this watch is competitively priced at 1,600 Australian dollars, which is about 1,100 US dollars. Right, so we know that they are so far just like many of the other German badass watches like Damasco and Zinn, but who cares if they are no good on the wrist? So that's what we're here to find out today. I hope you'll join me. So thank you for being here today. If you like what you see, then I would really appreciate a like and subscribe, so thank you for that. With these over-engineered pieces, the downfall has for me in the past been the size of these things. And this is the nicest surprise with this watch. It's 41mm in diameter, 49.2mm lug to lug, 14.2mm thick, and a lug width of 20mm. Sliced up for me, it comes in to about 192 grams. So whilst it's not light, the design of these downward lugs means it both hugs your wrists and stay put rather than floating around your wrist like a dumbbell from the sheer weight of it. This is a remarkably wearable watch, and that's not been my experience with similar pieces. For instance, my Zinn ECDM5, which I just had to sell eventually since it was just too cumbersome. On first glance, the dial reminded me a little bit about the L'Aventure watches with their green and gold sandwich dials, but not so in person. The sunburst green here is an attractive shade, but if I had to be picky, and this is just personal taste, I think it would have been even better if it had a slightly more desaturated green that's in use on the bezel. Printing on the dial is exemplary restrained, with just the logo and automatic under the 12. The model name at just above the 6 and a simple "Made in Germany" at the bottom of the dial. This is a wise decision since there is a bit going on here with the sandwich style components. For the first time, Dievas incorporated a mix of techniques in the design of the dial markers. The 12 o'clock triangle marker has a bar and arrow against the Lume sandwich plate underneath. The 3, 6 and 9 has a similar treatment, whilst the remaining hour plots are etched out to allow the Lume to shine underneath. It's an interesting treatment that I've not seen before, and even more so at night when the Lume shines through. The hour and minute hands has contrasting orange and white outlines. That's a bit hard to see to be honest here, so I'm not too sure if it's worth doing this, but the seconds hand being all blacked out except the orange and Lume box tip was definitely worth the effort. It floats along nicely along the minute markers. Overall, the dial is legible and different enough to stand out on its own 2 feet design-wise, and as you would expect, is protected by a sapphire crystal with effective AR coating. There are two interesting aspects I'd like to highlight on the bezel. Firstly, it's loomed and can also easily be replaced with other colors using the screws on the side. Nothing else would really look that great with the green, but on the blue and black versions of this watch, I can see how it would be handy and fun to do this. Second, the feel of this 120 click bezel is excellent. I dive a bit, and seriously, all bezels are too hard to get a grip on in the water with wet hands. I always have to pull my wetsuit up to my fingers and do it. This one flows just perfectly with just the right amount of pressure. It's quite simply a great design, and I think I could set it in the water before descending. The watch case is a sandblasted 316L stainless steel with a DLC coating. It looks a little bit like the dull grey of titanium, but it is definitely the sturdy feel of steel. From certain angles, it's rather robust looking, but as mentioned, it wears so well thanks to the design that apparently allows 36% more contact with the wrist than previous models. It does have a helium escape valve, but like on the Tudor Pelagos, it's barely visible and just there for you to either brag about or perhaps more sensibly ignore. The signed and easy to grip screw-in crown is recessed at the 4 position, so will not dig into your wrist. I have however noticed that you need to be a little bit careful screwing it in, since your fingertips can get stuck between the crown guards and crown. I drew blood, so you don't have to. The plain case back has the usual markings and hides a Sellita SW200-1 movement. Reliable and sturdy, it's a good move, and as per usual out of Germany, the Germans prefer the Swiss siblings movements rather than Miyota's and Seiko movements out of Japan. The H-Link bracelet is not as robust as I expected, but it's comfortable and does not nip any hairs, and screw-in links are easy to adjust yourself with the included screwdriver. The clasp is not one of my favorite designs, but it's at least the right approach for a robust and tough dive watch where you would also expect to see a ratcheting extension. It is treated with the same coating, so it looks and feels the same as the rest of all the steel details. The combination of fairly small links and 3 micro adjust holes had me get a perfect fit at least. So the Lume is a standout here. Zin and Damasco are not great in this area for some reason. So this is where the Maya Mark III can really show off. The brand Dievas may be named after a Prussian/Slavic deity, but it is unmistakably modern German in its approach to watchmaking. It's well made and incredibly robust, with specs that are unnecessarily good. If you don't like the green and gold, there are black and blue versions that are also very attractive. The fact that they also supply silicone straps in various colors, and the nice touch of being able to change the bezel when you get sick of the one delivered is a fun touch. I could really see a plain steel one with no color as a great option here. I am not paid to say this, but I have bought from Nomon before, and having them sell and represent this brand for us in Asia and Oceania is another good reason to buy with confidence. If you like what you see here, then I'm telling you, this is a brand you should put on your radar, whether you hang out with whales at 1,000 meters depths or not. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.